Memory is a funny thing when you're performing. You got all of these things that you intend to say during a show, and you plan it all out and you think through it, and you perform the show, and then you get to the end of your performance and you go, crap, I forgot to say that. It happens to all of us. I've done it 100 times myself. So today we're going to talk about 3 things that we often forget while performing a show that you really should tell your audience at every show. So let's dive in. Welcome back to DannyRobertsonMusic.com, where we try to help you become the best possible performer that you can be on whatever stage you choose to perform on. I'm your host, Danny Robertson, and I want to thank you for joining me again today. The topic for today, things that we forget to say on stage all the time that really should be said at every show. Performing in front of an audience, it lies somewhere between giving a prepared speech and going with the flow and having fun and just living in the moment, feeling the energy of the moment. Problem is, in this case, is that if you're too prepared, you come off stale and your show looks very predictable. One show to the next, you do the same things and it becomes boring to watch or pay attention to. But on the other hand, if it's too loose and you're just kind of living in the moment the whole time, yes, you've got that spontaneity factor that goes to it, but you can come off as unprepared or messy or sloppy, and things often in those cases get missed. So the key word with this is always balance. I like to advertise that pretty much everything related to performing on stage is a combination of having a plan and just going with the flow. You have to be able to do a little bit of both in order for your show to become very professional and consistent, but at the same time be fun and exciting every time you watch it. So let's dive into 3 things that we often forget to say during shows that really should be said at every show. The first one, you need to always say something about you, the performer. And there's lots of things that you can say because lots of people are going to know you as a performer, but there are going to be new people at every show that you perform that have never seen you. They don't know the name of the band or performer. I like to say band because I was in them. They don't know how to find out more about you. And really, they if they want to do any of that, they won't come to another show unless you tell them where to go look. So things that you can talk about are things like your website, any social media that you have, like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, like this YouTube channel. You can talk about your gig calendar and where to find that. And then the big one is knowing your name. So like, let's say that this fan that is coming to see you for the first time, they really, really enjoy your show. And they think that band was so great, and they were so entertaining, but I have no idea what their name was or how to find them again. Well, the trick is that pretty much at least once or twice in every hour-long portion of your show, you should mention the performer name, the website that you have, or a way to see where your next performance is going to be, or a way to learn more about you. And you want to try to throw in the names of individual performers that are in the group because it helps your audience get to know the individual players or singers that are participating so that they get to know you on a personal level. The second thing that we often forget to talk about that we really should is the venue that we're performing in. A lot of the times, I have a good friend who has been performing a lot of years, and he is extremely good about talking about the venue that he's performing at and something specific that makes that venue great. So a lot of the times he'll mention things like food and drink specials. He'll talk about how the individual people that he's connected to at that venue are great people and what they've done to help the community or make it fun for us to have events at this venue. You want to bring up as much as you can about the venue and talk about them in a really good light so that your fans also want to come back to the location that you're at. Things that you can talk about with your venue. You can talk about, like I said, food or drink specials. You can talk about special events that the venue's having. So if they're having what's a good example? A St. Patrick's Day event or a Mardi Gras party or a special day where they're doing 50% off of all of their stuff. You want to advertise the events that the venue is having, not just if you're playing those events. A big no-no that I can suggest not bringing up when you're talking about a venue is if you're performing a show and you want to say where you are going to be next as the performer, that is a terrible thing to do. It should be common sense, but I've seen that mistake made a lot of the time. If you are in one location, if you're at let's say you're at Jack's Bar and you're performing at Jack's Bar tonight, but then next week you're performing at Dave's Bar and they're right down the street from each other. Don't go mentioning Dave's Bar for the next show. Let your audience instead mention a website or a social media platform that points your fan to the next show that way. But don't do it while you're on stage at Jack's Bar here. That the night that you're at Jack's Bar, you are all about Jack's Bar. You have to say everything that's great about Jack's Bar because they're paying you to be there and help them make money. Anyway, big no-no. Don't mention your next gig when you're at this venue. Don't mention the next week's venue when you're at this week's. Focus on where you're at. The last thing that gets forgotten at a lot of shows that you should be doing at every show is talking directly to the audience in a way that personally connects them to the show. You want to bring up individuals by name. You want to talk about somebody that's doing great dance moves. Or if you're at a wedding, you want to talk about how great their outfits look or how great the bride and groom look. You want to talk about the reason for the show. If it's a Christmas party, if it's a wedding, if it's a special event, you want to bring these things up and talk about how great it is that this is coming together on this day and we're all having a good, fun time together. Because when it comes down to it, your audience is being entertained by you, but you are having a moment between all of you together. Talk about your audience as much as you can, because the more you can connect personally, the more you create a loyal fan. Okay, so to sum this up, talking with crowds, in order to have an action plan and not forget things when you're performing on stage, there's a few things that you can do to get a regular routine about this. One is to practice it before you're ever performing on a stage. So if you want to say things like food and drink specials at every show, you need to practice a way to say that and incorporate that into a show. You may want to plan that with a particular song or at a particular point in the show. You want to have an action plan that you can consistently achieve that result. So practicing is one. Second thing is to have it written down somewhere so that you can kind of have a mental checklist that you're watching while you're performing that will give you everything that you intend to say, and you can mentally check those off while you're performing your show. A good place to do this is obviously with a band or a solo performer is a set list. So if you know the rough intended outline of what you're going to play in the order that you want to do it, you can plan these things out so that after song 3, you can say something about the venue. After song 5, you can make sure to say something about the audience. If you're curious about how to do that, if you check out DannyRobertsonMusic.com, there's a freebies section that I have something called the set list checklist that kind of gives you an idea of how to plan that out, gives you a good idea of what you can do within a show. Check that out. It's a free download. If you have any questions about it, you can always contact us through the contact page on DannyRobertsonMusic.com or comment on this video. Thank you again for watching this video. If you feel that you've enjoyed this or any of our other videos, please like, subscribe, comment, anything that you're willing to share. I very much appreciate that in you supporting the channel. We also do a lot of premium content on DannyRobertsonMusic.com, so take a look at that when you get a chance. And until next time, here's to your next great performance. Thanks again for joining, and I'll see you soon.